Ladies and gentlemen, they simply don't have enough to talk about regarding Trump. They've spent 4 years, Democrats, media, oftentimes the most apoplectic, fanatical, hysterical, angry, disgruntled, morally superior liberal Democrats, focused and devoted their lives to contempt and disdain for Trump. And now they don't have that monster. They just don't have it. Well, they're not governing on anything. You can kiss Medicare for all goodbye. That was the biggest phony grift of all time. That was a hoax alongside Trump-Russia. So the Democrats live within this realm of smoke and mirrors. These illusions that these sacred cows they have no intention of truly worshiping or caring about. They simply tell their voters anything. Their voters are petrified of being called Trump supporters because, reversing the U.S. foreign policy for the better, ending perpetual counterinsurgency wars, which is what Trump stands for, which is why Bernie supporters and conservatives and a great many people of all different political spectrums support President Trump. It is a moral imperative to end America's counterinsurgency conflicts. That's one of the main reasons to support President Trump. The left doesn't care about that. They have the Lincoln Project, and you can see what's taking place with the Lincoln Project. Those skeletons are coming out of the closet. But they don't have anything to talk about. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. I'm going to give you analysis for the next 4 years from the vantage point of somebody who supports President Trump, who used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. There is a direct line between Bernie Sanders and President Trump. That's a good thing. It's good to have people of all different spectrums want, for example, ending regime change and interventions. The problem is the left doesn't realize that, and the Republican Party hasn't fully accepted yet that Trump controls it. Rightfully so. It's now a populist political party that is against the Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld and Lincoln Project atrocities, foreign policy that led to regime change in Libya, turned it into a failed state, never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. We have President Trump, who presided over détente between North and South Korea, first president to step foot in North Korea, and President Moon Jae-in, in recent news articles, has stated to Biden, hey, let's continue what Trump started. He wants to continue the legacy. President Trump's legacy is one of foreign policy achievement. The pandemic wasn't Trump's fault. You want to blame Trump? Blame Cuomo and Murphy and Whitmer, first, and Newsom. So the governors and the mayors have more impact and influence upon their citizens than Trump does. So nice trying to blame Trump for the pandemic, when according to the New York Times, all of the states that have the worst outcomes, most of the states, the top states with the worst outcomes in terms of the pandemic are Democratic-run states. How is that Trump's fault? But anyway, he fired his legal team, or a number of his legal team. It's in the Washington Post, New York Times. Oh my God, he fired his legal team because he tried to get them to make baseless claims. The difference between Trump's baseless claims and Democrats' baseless claims is that they investigate their bogus, nonsensical, irrational hoax of Trump-Russia. They investigated it for 4 years. They found nothing. Absolutely nothing. They were mortified, even more so than losing to Trump in 2016. They found nothing. The Mueller report vindicated President Trump. Nobody was indicted on anything to do with Trump-Russia. It is an absurd hoax. He never worked with Russia. He didn't need to. He never worked with supremacists. He didn't need to. Democrats were horrendous then. They're horrendous now. Look what's taking place on the left. Biden has done nothing for key constituents within the Democratic Party that helped them tremendously. He's done nothing. Can you name me an executive order that helps the African American and black community in this country, 40 million Americans? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, I could be wrong. I'm not right about everything. I'm generally right about most things. But can you name me an executive order that helps the most important voting group? Can you name me the two most important voting groups are black and Latino voters for Democrats. And President Trump has gained popularity and votes within both demographic groups from 2016 and did better among non-white voters than any Republican in 60 years. Fact. Can you name me an executive order that Biden has signed that helps Latino and Hispanic voters or Black and African American voters? Name one. Now that they've gotten what they wanted, are they talking about helping the communities that help them get to where they want? I want to know. I could be wrong. So in the comments section, I'm actually genuinely interested. He signed all these executive orders. None, from what I understand, from what I've seen, helps the Black community directly or the Latino community directly. So, and do they have a bill on the horizon, a Voting Rights Amendment Act? John Conyers brought to the House in 2015. They still haven't voted on. Do they have an immigration bill? I'm conservative on the Second Amendment. I'm all for free speech. I support President Trump in terms of foreign policy and other. I think tariffs are a lot better than the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I think the USMCA is a lot better than NAFTA. You have a greater percentage of automobiles made within the United States as opposed to elsewhere. There are great things that President Trump did, but I get something for voting for Trump. I get somebody who ended America's longest-running military conflict in Afghanistan. I get somebody who paved the way to bring Americans home. Democrats get the Lincoln Project. Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld foreign policy. They get 0 executive orders to help their core constituencies. Nothing. I like I said, I was trying to say, I want dreamers to become citizens. I have friends who are dreamers. So is Biden doing this? No. And like his plan to combat climate change has led to jobs being, lost. That's a fact. And it's not going to make a dent in terms of the climate. Not a dent. So, carbon emissions, by the way, the past couple of years have gone down. So Trump gets no credit. I mean, this is even before. We're actually doing better than members of the Paris Treaty, the Paris Climate Accords. So we're doing better. We've lowered our emissions faster than they have. Many states have. And it's a non-binding agreement. So it's like, they say, oh, well, he stopped Keystone XL. Yeah, but the equivalent of what? 10, 12, 13 pipelines have been built? That's according to the Financial Post years back. And that pipeline is like already pretty much built. This is a public relations stunt. Oh, we're going to stop it. Well, it's pretty much already built. So, and it was built all throughout President Obama's tenure. The largest expansion of domestic oil and gas production took place under President Obama's administration, you climate change obsessed, morally superior liberals. This is another fact. Go to CNN, the trusted name in news. So I want to know what Biden has done. Please tell me what he's planning on doing. Please tell me what the House is doing. Look, the best thing to ever happen to Trump Republicans is Democrats running the House, the Senate, and presidency. They will get nothing done because they believe in nothing. They believe in incremental change. That's why the Democrats are basically fractured beyond repair. They have every single conceivable advantage. Hollywood, late night, corrupt intelligence officials, every single Washington Post, New York Times, MSNBC, CNN. If they didn't have all of that, including and most importantly, a Republican Party that's turned its back on President Trump, even though Trump really has transformed it and controls the future of the Republican Party. You have Mitt Romney and Ben Sasse getting all the press, and the Republicans basically kowtow all the time and bow in subservience to the Democratic Party and media. McConnell will eventually support Trump supporters wholeheartedly. And the Mitt Romneys and Ben Sasse, they have no chance of taking over the Republican Party. And if they do, I will enjoy Biden easily defeating them. Not because I want Biden for 8 years, just because it would be hilarious to see Mittens lose again. Again, I'm not a lifelong Republican. I vote for Trump. I like President Trump. Now, again, I will continue to say this because we need to learn from this so Trump gets stronger and better. He should not have insulted LeBron James. I know that a lot of people don't like when I say that. It's true. He should not have insulted NFL players. He could have simply voiced his viewpoint in a different manner, or simply allowed, if people want to go after Trump, you don't have to always respond. When I was on the left, somebody said something about me, went after me. Beef, always beef, always. Oh yeah, okay. Here's a diss video. Here's a response video. Here's the truth, the reality. You can't say that about me. And then it was back and forth. And they would start it. I would be minding my own business. Then you'd have somebody try to go after H.A. Goodman, and they'd get pummeled because of their skeletons. They'd get, and like you see the Lincoln Project now. You diss this. I think it was Socrates who said, "You diss me, you diss yourself." The left is full of the people who judge and condemn the most have the most to hide. This is a fact of life. The televangelists and today's wonderful, morally superior liberals on Twitter, they have the most to hide. So they don't have anything to talk about. Trump fired his lawyers. Okay, so what? He's going to be acquitted twice. They're not going to go after Trump in a court of law. They're not going after Trump in a court of law. Why is that? They're not going. Why doesn't AOC file criminal charges against Ted Cruz? Want to know why? Because she doesn't want to help Ted Cruz defend Wall Street bets. She doesn't want to defend them. Just like she doesn't want Medicare for all. Because she can say anything. Yad Vashem went after, condemned and refuted AOC's absurd revisionist history pertaining to a time period she should never speak about again. Yad Vashem in Jerusalem did this, rightfully so. She has no right to talk about that time period. But Democrats use the suffering of their voters as a political weapon and tool. And they just fall in line. But if they didn't have every possible conceivable advantage, mainly a Republican Party that's completely cowardly and inept and petrified. Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz could have simply explained why they defended Trump. You could simply say that. And if you, well, it's baseless. Do you have any evidence? No, you need to investigate. You investigated a Steele dossier for 4 years. You had zero evidence. It's baseless. Where were the warnings on social media? Caution, Steele dossier with Trump getting peed on is complete nonsense and fabricated. You never got that. So, people like Jimmy Dore are heroes, really. You have a lot of great people on the left. Jimmy Dore, Nico House. You have a lot of great people. They disagree with me on everything, politically, but they're great people. You have a lot of other great people, too. Jamal Thomas is fantastic. You have a lot of people on the left that are really good human beings, great people, and they're sticking it to the Democratic Party, trying to make the Democratic Party live up to their left-leaning ideals. But the Democrats are not the Green Party. That's what people on the left are slowly finding out. And then you're getting people, because I don't have Twitter. I have a person impersonating me on Twitter, but I don't have a Twitter account. He's breaking the law. Amazon knows who this individual is. But you have people on Twitter. I'm not following, this leftist or that leftist. I'm not a leftist. I'm just saying I see what's going on because I come from that world. And I'm like, pretty soon, all you're going to do is watch the Young Turks, which is fine. Or like the other YouTube channels that are basically the same thing. CNN. There's CNN and there's the same YouTube channels that promote the same talking points. That's fine. But don't pretend to be, you're not changing any system here. You're upholding if you're on the left, you think that this is a corrupt system. Well, what are you doing? Now is your chance to get Medicare for all, universal basic income, a Green New Deal legislation. We only have 11 years left, according to you. The United Nations says only have 11 years before the planet implodes. So this is your chance. You're not going to get the House, the Senate, and the presidency for a while. Republicans will take the House and hopefully the Senate with a Trump Republican Party. Then Democrats have a huge problem because even once there's an actual opposition party that speaks with one voice, a voice that protects and defends 74 million supporters of President Trump, a more populist viewpoint that actually resonates with the left, there's a direct line between Bernie 2016 and even Bernie 2020 and Trump. A direct line. They're the same voters pretty much. That's a dirty little secret that the left, it's not dirty to me, but the left views that as like, oh my God, that's not true. It is 100% true. There's a direct line. Because populist messages resonate. Okay? Incremental changes don't resonate. It doesn't. When you say, "Oh gosh, no, we're going to rip up the Trans-Pacific Partnership and impose tariffs instead. We're going to renegotiate NAFTA, create the USMCA. We're going to preside over peace deals in the Middle East, a region where there haven't been peace deals in decades. We're going to reverse U.S. foreign policy and never engage in regime change, and we're not going to start a new war." He's the first president in decades, Trump, never to have started a new war. So, I mean, these are great things. The left can't deny that. They don't want to be labeled Trump supporters, but like I said, there's a direct line between the left, and they keep on saying, "Oh, horseshoe theory, H.A. Goodman and others, they're grifters." No, the grift, you think that it's a grift to support Trump? To my new Patreons, thank you. God bless you. To the people who support me, thank you. I'm lucky that I have wonderful people. The $20,000 a month or $20 million a month venture capital people or $20 million venture capital people, that's on the left. The people who said, "Oh, Trump worked with Russia." And if you devote your life to hating Trump, it's very lucrative. It's not lucrative to support President Trump. I do so out of a value system that says I don't want regime changes and I want Americans home, back to their families, their husbands, their wives, their sons, their daughters, their fathers, their mothers, their families. We need to bring Americans home. Because I don't see the same people who are petrified when, AOC, oh my God, yeah, AOC's political party destroyed Libya and sent people to never-ending counterinsurgency wars that they don't want to bring home now because the Lincoln Project is there. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Yeah, so what? He fired a couple of lawyers and who cares? They have nothing to talk about because they can't govern. They have no legislative mandate. Their only reason to exist, the Democratic Party, is, well, we're not Trump. But we had record low unemployment all throughout President Trump's administration. Another fact. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. He's going to be acquitted twice, so there's no... The interesting thing about all of this is that President Trump is going to be acquitted twice. Twice acquitted. They're like, he's impeached. So what? The allure or the groundbreaking nature of impeachment is no longer there. We're not talking about Watergate. Watergate was infinitely worse than anything Trump did, and what they did to Trump was infinitely worse than Watergate. Democrats are in for a complete, when people say, oh, Kevin Kleinsmith only got, he only got probation. Well, at least he was indicted, number one. Number two, I never said that he would get 100 years in jail or prison. I'm telling you that things are going to change once Republicans actually become an opposition political party. Once that happens, Democrats, then you'll see media, then you'll see intelligence officials, then you might even see some in Hollywood say, okay, you know what, there's utility to be gained, money to be gained by siding with Republicans as opposed to just selling your soul to Democrats. And if Democrats don't have every conceivable advantage, they don't have policies, they crumble. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right